I'm not sure if this is recording or not, but we're gonna go for it. Hi, my name is Farida, and welcome to Rootless. This is a channel where I talk about anything and everything. Basically, whatever is in my head, I will discuss because I just kind of need an outlet, and I figured YouTube is a good way to start doing that. That if I'm a little awkward in front of the camera, just keep in mind, it's my first video. I don't know how to do this just yet. Hopefully I'll get used to it, but if not, then, you know, we'll figure out a way to deal. So, for my first video, I wanted to start a series on this channel that I want to call Mental Health Moments. Now, I know this has been done on YouTube. I've actually taken inspiration from Campbell, who has these mental health related videos on her channel that I love and adore. Editing Farida here. I'm going to insert a few of these because I just realized how awkward and insane I actually sound, so do forgive me. Also, elaborations are going to happen. Also, I just think these are cute, so sue me. Actually, please don't. I'm broke. Don't sue me. But do subscribe. It's a fun time around here. It's just wonderful. But this is not obviously a clear copy. I just figured I would tackle something, a cornerstone, an issue, a certain topic correlated to mental health or mental illness and so on and so forth every, well, let's say once a month. That sounds like a good metric. We're going to stick to that. And talk about it. Obviously, you guys can let me know, down there, if there's anything specific you want to talk about, or rather, you want me to talk about, and I'll discuss it. So before we start, disclaimer, I am not a mental health professional. Clearly, I'm 19. I'm not a professional with anything, but I do find it very interesting. I've been going to therapy on and off for a few years, and I've picked up a few things along the way, and my interest has greatly developed because of it. So I do a lot of research, I read a lot of books, I just love psychology and psychiatry and understanding the human brain and why we feel the things we feel and how we feel them and so on and so forth. So for this first episode of Mental Health Moments, I wanted to talk about the classification of mental illnesses. I'm not going to hit on everything because this video would be 7 years long if I had to, and I'm not going to go into extreme detail. I just kind of wanted to do an overview of everything, if you will. I feel like I'm sitting way too close to this camera, but I don't have a tripod, so this is just going to have to work for now. Subscribe if you like me. I'm going to assume this is the point where everyone got too tired of the cringe fest and just left. That's okay. Also, bitch, your setup is so unprofessional and you're so cringy. No one likes you. Go home. But, subscribe. It's a fun time, I promise. I'm gonna say that. It's gonna be my thing. Every cutoff I do, I'm gonna say subscribe. It's a fun time. That's the deal. We're making it now. Just you and me. We're decided on it. Thank you. You've signed it. I have it on paper. You just faxed me the contract. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay, bye. Or, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Also, you're already here, so might as well just click that subscribe button. You don't have anything to lose. If you don't like what happens next, just unsubscribe later on, or don't. I'm nice, I promise. That being said, let's get started. So I did a lot of research, I read a lot of articles, I read a lot of books, and a lot of the things I'm about to say are from there. Most of the information is from the American Mental Health Organization. I'm not American, I don't know what it's called, but you know what it is. I'll put the link in the description box, so that way if anyone wants to see what I'm talking about and delve into deeper detail, they can. But here's what I found. There are 8 classifications. They're very basic, if you will. So we have mood disorders, anxiety disorders, trauma and stressor-related disorders, obsessive compulsive, which is a category on its own. You have substance abuse disorders, eating disorders, psychotic disorders, and personality disorders. Now, let's start with what I like to call the simplest to get through because it is fairly simple and understandable. Mood disorders, numero uno, mood disorders, are generally seen as three. There is more, but these are the most well-known three, if you will. You have bipolar disorder, which is classified into two. You have bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. If you want to know like the exact meaning and classification behind each one, the light is shifting. I'm sorry, the sun is being a bitch. I live in Amsterdam. It's never stable. I digress. If you want to know the clarification of each and all, I'll link a video by Campbell, whose actual goals, below. She does a really good job of delving in and explaining what each of both of these are.
Yes, we're getting another one of these, because this won't be the last time you will hear Anna Campbell's name. Campbell's name. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'm sorry, I'm not American. But yeah, I have a crush on the girl. She's so hot and so smart that it's fucking insane. So she's mentioned a lot. Check her out. She's fucking amazing, you know? And subscribe. It's a fun time around here.
You have major depressive disorder, which is categorized as chronic major depression. And then you have persistent depression disorder, which is exactly what the name says. It's persistent. And then you have seasonal affective disorder, in which your moods change depending on the season. It's also known as SAD or SAD.
My camera shut off, the battery ran out, so I don't have a transition. I forgot to film a transition, so this is where we are. We last spoke about SAD, seasonal affective disorder, and now we're moving on to the next part, which is anxiety disorders. Okay, here we go.
And with that, we move on to the second category, which is anxiety disorders. Now, these are pretty well known. You have generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, phobias, and social anxiety disorder. I don't really think I need to go in depth into any of these. Yeah, you know, the name says it all. You sort of get what they are. Next, we have trauma-related and stressor. Trauma-related and stressor. I cannot speak high English. Trauma and stressor-related disorders. There we go. That works. That's perfect. I'm gonna step back. Sorry. And also, the lighting isn't great. Yeah, no. The sun's out. It's very odd. So, you have acute stress disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder, which is PTSD. Again, these are pretty well known. Acute stress disorder, they're very similar. Acute stress disorder just tends to hit very soon after the traumatic event. I'm not really well versed onto the symptoms and everything like that. I need to stop moving. Okay, yeah, nope, that works. Okay, we're gonna stick to that. Then you have obsessive compulsive disorder, which is OCD. Then you have substance abuse disorders, which is disorders that occur due to substance abuse or addictions.
First, insert where I clarify something. I just double checked, and they're actually no longer referred to in the latest version of the DSM. They are no longer referred to as substance abuse. They're rather referred to as substance use. So, yeah, just clarifying. Thought you should know. You're welcome.
Then you have eating disorders such as anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorder, as well as other specified feeding or eating disorders, or OSFED, which used to be known as EDNOS, but now it's OSFED, and it's just different behaviors, different compulsions or thought processes that don't necessarily fit within the categories of the previous three. You also have psychotic disorders such as schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, delusional disorder, brief psychotic disorder, and schizotypal disorder, which I will say this now. Schizotypal disorder is a personality disorder, which we will get into later, but people suffering from it can experience brief periods of psychosis, which was the basis of a psychotic disorder.
Here I am, fangirling about Anna Campbell. Again, just warning you. And I forgot my deal already. We signed a contract. I'm so sorry. But subscribe. It's a fun time around here. I promise.
Again, if you really want to see a great video talking about the distinction between schizophrenia, schizotypal, and schizoaffective disorders, I will also leave a link to Anna Campbell's video. I did want to talk about was brief psychotic disorder. Just to go into very mild details, it's...
Okay, I'm back once more. Okay, so brief psychotic disorders are actually very uncommon. They're precipitated by a certain event or a pre-existing personality disorder, and basically patients manifest at least one psychotic symptom that lasts a month or for about a month or less. If it lasts more than a month, then it's more likely to be diagnosed as schizophrenia. Yeah, relapse is common, but patients typically will function well between episodes and have few to no symptoms. Just elaborating because I misread what I was writing, so just elaborating. No false news on this side of the internet.
I could be 100% wrong. Please don't hesitate to let me know. Educate me and the other people in the comments. And be nice to each other, because life is so much better for all not assholes. Then you have personality disorder. Now this is where the complicated part gets in. I need to stop moving because my face keeps getting cut off. I also need to invest in a tripod. I wish you could see how my camera's set up. It's like on a stack of books. And I'm scared. But I digress. So these are the more complex parts because they're divided into 3 clusters. You have cluster A, which is autoeccentric personalities. Cluster B, which are dramatic, emotional, or erratic personalities. And cluster C, which are anxious, fearful behaviors. Let's start with cluster A. So odd or eccentric. You have schizoid personality disorder, paranoid personality disorder, and schizotypal personality disorder. Cluster B, which are, once again, the dramatic, emotional, or erratic personalities. Antisocial personality disorder, which within itself groups so many different diagnoses? No, it has many different types. Borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder. And finally, cluster C is anxious or fearful behaviors. Now you have avoidant personality disorder, dependent personality disorder, and finally, obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And this is something that I want to hit on because obsessive compulsive personality disorder is very different from obsessive compulsive disorder. They're 2 very separate things. People will think they're the same because they have very similar names. They're not. I could get into it more, but for the sake of keeping this video, within the range of time that I would like to keep it under, we're not going to get into that today. So yeah, that's sort of what I wanted to touch on. Again, like I said, there's a lot of debate within the medical community as to these particular diagnostic groups, if you will, how accurate they are, whether they truly describe the personalities within them. Yeah, that's sort of what I wanted to hit on. Once again, my name is Farida. This is Rootless. Follow me on Instagram. It's where most of my life goes down, basically. It's called Rootless Lives. And Twitter is where all the thoughts go down. It's Farida_Badran. I will leave everything down below. You'll see it. And yeah, my Instagram is also where I post my original poetry, if you're into that, along with photography and the places I've been and so on and so forth. I have a series on my stories called Mental Health Moments, where I share some self-care tips and just try and help people feel less isolated, because mental health and mental illnesses have this power to make us feel so isolated and alone, but we're not. And yeah, subscribe, click a thumbs up, and shoot me a comment telling me what you'd like me to talk about or what you'd like me to do. I'm still sort of functioning on, or I'm making a list of videos that I would like to do, but I would love your input. I'm an English Lit student. This is not what should be happening. I would love your input on what you would like me to do, any videos you would like to hear from me. Again, not the way this goes, but you get my gist. You're picking up what I'm putting down, Anything I mentioned, I will leave in the descriptions, all the links, so on and so forth. And yeah, have a good day, be nice to each other, and please, love yourself. You're awesome.